the International Year of Disabled People.
Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder...
It's also the 10th anniversary of Wellesley House in Wolverhampton. It was opened in September 1971 for the care of severely handicapped adults. Joy Winkworth is one of the co-founders of Wellesley House. Why did you open it, Joy?
It was when the co-founder, Mrs. Betty LeBand, and myself met Michael Gardner through our minister, the Reverend Peter Williams of Wollaston Free Church. He was looking round for a bed for him anywhere in Britain. He was severely handicapped, couldn't toilet or feed himself, but of high intelligence, and the only place for him at that time would have been in a geriatric ward with the elderly sick. Betty is a health visitor, or was, and I was a teacher of mentally handicapped children, felt that this was not the place for such a person. And we made it a matter of prayer, with our minister in fact, what to do.
Now, you had to raise some money, didn't you? How much money did you need?
Yes. Well, it was August the 11th, 69 in fact, when Betty was given a £4 donation from colleagues at the hospital. And in faith, we put this into a building society, called it the Michael Gardner Trust, and prayed that enough money would be raised to buy a house to house Michael and a few other severely physically handicapped people.
And you found Wellesley House?
Indeed we did, on the Pen Road in Wolverhampton. We'd have liked it near Stourbridge, near our hometown, but we could find nothing suitable. And we literally claimed the house in faith, with very few pound donation.
So you started with £4
Yes.
and it cost you £9,000.
Indeed.
That's
Yes.
just the initial outlay,
That's
wasn't
right.
it? Then you
Yes.
had an extension built.
Yes. 9 months later we were in a position to buy the house for £9,000, mostly through public money and interest-free loans. And we had the extension built within the next 8 months. This was to house up to 8 physically handicapped people on the ground floor.
OK, let's meet a couple of the inhabitants of Wellesley House. There's Sue and there's Andy. How long have you been there, Andy?
I've been there 8 years.
And presumably, I went round Wellesley House and it's very much like a family environment.
Oh yes, very much so.
And Sue, you've been there less time than that. Tell us the story about how you came to be in Wellesley House.
Well, I decided it was about time I became more independent. So I said to my social services that I wanted to leave home. They weren't very happy. So after a little while, they kept saying no, no, and then after about a year of persistence, I finally got told I could go. You know, it was rather a big fight.
Yeah, but you went to your MP and people like that, didn't you?
Oh, well, it was done, yes.
Now, we saw the extension. You make baskets and other things down there.
Yeah.
We have a couple of the baskets with us as well. Now, who's responsible for getting you the orders for those?
Trevor.
We have a picture of Trevor as well in his wheelchair. Tell me the story about the order he got you the other week for waste paper baskets.
Well, he went to a Blue Peter sale, and he was taking orders and orders, and he came back and he said he got about 20 orders for waste paper baskets. And as I do the middle bit, which is about that high,
that's the
I
actual
got landed.
weaving?
Yes.
How long would that take you?
About 2-3 months. But I had a friend to help as well, you know, so they were done in about 2 or 3 months.
Andy, it is the year of disabled people. We saw a poster behind us just now saying, we don't want sympathy, just acceptance. Is that how you feel, roughly?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think you've got more acceptance in this year of disabled people or not?
Well, it seems that we've got a little bit more. When we go out, I notice that some people now, they don't stare as much as they used to.
You actually got smiled at the pub the other night, didn't you?
Yes, it was nice, it was lovely.
Is that really that unusual?
Well, no, but people won't really speak to you, you know. If you speak to them first, you know, like hello and smile, then they're more willing to smile and answer you back. But otherwise, you know, you see people going by in cars going, you know, just staring. So,
Is that because you think people feel uncomfortable because they are not disabled and you are?
yeah, yes, I think so. They can't understand it, really.
Now, Andy, you're spina bifida,
Yes.
aren't you? And you have Still's disease,
Yeah,
Sue. How much can you do?
quite a bit. I can undress myself to a certain extent. Not very much, but I can get about, get from A to B and use a chair.
How much can you do, Andy?
I can undress myself.
Yes. Joy, what are you able to do for these two and for others like them that they wouldn't be able to have done for them at home?
Well, there's certain personal things that do obviously need doing at certain times, but our aim really is to encourage them, all the people that we have, no matter who they are, to be as independent and as self-help as possible, which I believe is what the International Year of Disabled has pointed out to us a great deal more.
There's been this personal level that they've talked about. Will
Yes.
it mean anything financially to you, do you think?
Oh, I think so, because people have been so much more aware through publicity, not only through ourselves at Wellesley House, but generally, have raised money through sponsored walks and sponsored cycle rides and this sort of thing, and we are benefiting quite a lot individually at our home by this.
Now, you're able to take these people away on holidays, aren't
Yes,
you?
from time
where
to
are
time
you able
we
to go
try.
for
We
that?
have fortunately, we have a cottage in Wales that we've had modernised and extended, and we are able to take them occasionally to this place, and they go out and about from there.
What sort of places do you go to, Andy?
Oh, we go to the coast or trips into the country and places like that.
Do you ever feel bitter or depressed or any emotions like that because of your disability?
No, not really. Because I've been like this since I was born. So, you might as well just accept what you've got. Make the most of what you've got.
How about you, Sue?
Very, very occasionally. And then when I do, I just find something to do and forget about it. So,
Okay, Joy, we'll put the question to you. Do you ever feel depressed for them?
Only if perhaps they feel they can't help themselves as much as they'd like to do, and this is what we hope we're there for, to encourage them, to give them the family atmosphere with, we hope, love and encouragement, that they are individuals, because we know that we all have problems of various sorts, some of which you can't see. We happen to be able to see disabled people's problems. But we need help and encouragement one from another. They've encouraged me when I felt down. And I think it's so important that we've got our job to do, whether it be walking about or from a chair. And we need to love and help each other as much as possible.
What do you do when you feel depressed?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I suppose my immediate reaction is to turn to the Lord. I know Jesus, my personal Xavier. I know he loves me, and this is the most wonderful thing in my life. And I know Betty shares this with me too. But it's also a practical thing. We go to him for wisdom, and for the things we can't sort out ourselves, we ask his help. We go to Christian friends, and we have help from them. It's a wonderful thing to have that faith in one's life. For people who haven't got it, we try to hopefully give the loving environment and point the way. It is for them to decide.
We mentioned earlier, didn't we, that Michael was the person that
Yes.
you started the whole thing for.
Yes.
Now, you thought he was going to be with you forever, didn't you?
Yes, and this is most exciting because, as I said earlier on, I believe I said earlier on, that people had thought he'd come to the end of the line. Totally bedridden, one position only. He managed to have possum equipment, electronically operated equipment, to control his environment. He went on holidays, he's been abroad, all sorts of things. Nothing's impossible with perseverance and love, really. And because we close every year for 2 weeks, much to his annoyance at first, because he was sort of comfortable and was okay, he found other accommodation, as we all have to do for those 2 weeks. And he, during that period, met somebody, an able-bodied lady, who in fact he has married and he's moved away.
That's not the only wedding
No.
you've had from your house.
No,
We
no.
have a slide of Margot who
Yes.
married. Now, tell me about
Yes.
her.
Well, Margot came back from Australia. She was English. She couldn't find accommodation, and they applied to us for a 2-week short stay. We have short stay beds for handicapped people from anywhere in Britain. As long as we can cope, we'll accept them. She came for 2 weeks, stayed 2 years, and she is now married through going up the road to the Cheshire home, met a young man there, and is in married quarters there, very happily settled.
Andy, talked about people's reactions to you, the physically able people, the able-bodied people to physically handicapped people. Now, you have a lot to do with an organisation called FAB, don't you?
Yes.
Now, what's that?
Well, the aims of FAB is to sort of break down all barriers.
It stands for physically handicapped,
Handicapped and
able-bodied.
able-bodied, yeah.
Yes. And what sort of places do you go to them?
Well, I do a fab course at Westminster School. It's run by the chaplain of Westminster School. And it's equal numbers of able-bodied and physically handicapped. And the ideal situation, by the end of the week, doesn't matter what barriers there were to start with, by the end of the week, they've all gone. Doesn't matter if it's religion, social background, your disabilities or anything.
I must tell you something. While I was down looking round Wellesley House, Betty came into Joy and said, "You know where he wants to go to next, don't you? You better tell people where you..."
Oh yeah, I'm hoping, I'm trying to do, and I'm just looking into the idea of going to Hong Kong on a fab.
That would be a bit difficult, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Well, if you want to do something bad enough, there's a way around it.
OK, we'll let out Sue's secret now. We were looking at these beautiful motorcycles at the beginning of the programme. You make these, don't we? Can we see that?
Yes.
How long did that take you?
Well, about 2-3 weeks.
It's very fiddly, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Especially when they fall off the table and smash, you know? Then you have to put them back together again.
How often does that happen?
Oh, not very often.
That's the bigger one. That actually is probably easier than this little one that we've got here as well, is it? Probably more...
Well, it was a bit easier, yes.
Now, you've also got motorcycles on your wall.
Yes, I've got one big 3-wheeler bike trike on the wall.
Frustrated motorcyclist, are you?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
You mentioned going to the pub as well. You get out and you have your own key and come in late when you want to, do you?
Yes, sometimes. Not too often, but I do when I can. When I've got a friend to go with, you know, when she's not busy, so...
You were living at home, you wanted your independence. Why was it that Wellesley House appealed? Because you didn't want to go into a home, even that first time you went in for a holiday, you didn't want to go, did you? What is it that appeals to you about Wellesley House that you didn't expect to appeal to you?
I don't know. I think it's the family atmosphere. I don't think I could cope in a bigger place. It's just the family atmosphere, you know, the ability to get about.
Is it the fact also that you're living in this family atmosphere with other people with similar sorts of problems?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so, yeah. Don't know why.
What do you think's going to happen in the future, Joy? I mean, are you going to have it extended even further, or what?
We just don't know. We couldn't extend further at Wellesley House. Obviously, we're at the end of the extension, but who knows? I honestly believe as a Christian with God all things are possible, and if it is his will that we go ahead and build a slightly bigger place, it will happen. If we stay put, that will be so.
You're 10 years old, back in 1969, when you had this first £4 paid into the bank.
Yes.
Did you dream that it would ever come this far?
That is difficult to say. Humanly, it seemed a very big thing. But if one starts something in faith, with a God that anything is possible, and I've proved that because he loves us, and all things belong to him, I firmly believe that we are his as well if we will give ourselves to him. Therefore, anything is possible. And we firmly believed that it would come about if it was his will.
Tell me what the people who live at Wellesley House call you and Betty.
Oh, a lot of things at times, I dare say. Oh, sometimes it's Auntie Joy, sometimes it's Mum, that's Betty, or Matron, or Asmat.
Oh, they actually call you Matron as well?
Yes, occasionally, when we feel very official.
It was the idea of Mum and Auntie which made
That's
it feel
right.
like a...
Depends
like
what
a
mood
home.
we're in, you see. If we start to stump around, if we're a bit angry with each other,
yeah.
you see, it's very
You
official
always
then.
feel she's in a bad mood. Because she walks around the building rather faster than
She shuts the
usual.
doors.
Yes.
rather
She
that
told
way.
me that.
You know the worst.
And I wasn't going to mention it. You're going away on your holidays this year. Hope you have a super time when you go to Wales. From something
you.
different and from me, goodbye.
Thank you.
Then sings my soul.